New this morning, an empty lot on South Manhattan Place in Koreatown, there's the map, is now the subject of a 7 on Your Side investigation. This kind of gives you an idea where it is. This empty space is nestled near apartment complexes and other buildings between 7th and 8th Street. But this is what it looks like from the air. You've got multiple people calling this space home. You can see the dwellings right there. It's really an encampment, and it's different than others because it's on a private lot, and that proves to be a challenge for neighbors and the city. Investigative reporter Kevin Ozebek spoke with some of the neighbors about their concerns.
Imagine paying LA rent prices and you end up with a view of this. This fast-growing homeless encampment has popped up on a vacant lot in Koreatown, and neighbors are livid.
The reason why people are sleeping here is because you leaders are sleeping on not taking initiative and action to clean this place up.
Now it's a city in there. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Street level, it's hard to see inside unless you go to where people have cut a huge hole into the fence. But from above, you can see there's now even a makeshift sports court in there.
It's a whole community, right? There's a tennis court. There's a garden where they're growing stuff. There's a barbecue pit.
Singman Lee contacted 7 on Your Side Investigates because he's worried about how people in this encampment have ripped open this streetlight, stuck a surge protector in there, and are running power from it across the street and into the encampment. In turn, we then contacted District 5 Council member Katie Uroslavsky.
From your perspective, where did this go wrong, and why are people in your district still dealing with this property?
So I think that the challenge comes from the fact that this is private property. But because it's private property, there's a different path. And that path is convoluted, it's over bureaucratic, it's the city at its worst, sort of not being able to get out of its own way.
The owner of the property is an LLC registered in Delaware. They never returned our request for comment, but the council member says they are cooperating and should be putting up no trespassing signs along this fence soon, which will then allow LAPD to step in. LA's Department of Building Safety says it's issuing an order to comply to the property owner to address the security, rubbish, garbage, trash, and debris. As for the electric rigging, while 7 on Your Side was there, someone came out of the encampment, unplugged the cord, wrapped up the wiring, and slipped right back inside.
So what is the city's public works department going to do to make sure power isn't taken from that streetlight again? Well, the answer tonight at 5 when we take an even deeper dive into the story. In LA's Koreatown, Kevin Ozebek, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Kevin joins us now, and there's so much to unpack on this. The first thing that jumps to mind, we've had violent crime that is done by people who are experiencing homelessness. I can't imagine the security issues for something like this.
You know, tonight at 5, you're going to hear from a young woman who lives around that encampment. She's now afraid to walk her dog around there. She says several people from that encampment have approached her while she's walking alone. I have to say, when we were out there, photojournalist Sean Callis and I were threatened by somebody around there. The people in that encampment, to put it lightly, maybe you're not the most savory, not the most polite people in there. And that's one of the reasons why residents living around there, reached out to 7 on Your Side Investigates. It's not just the blight and the eyesore. They also have major safety concerns, also fire concerns, given there's that power cord running across the street.
Well, yes, and that theft, we've talked about copper wire theft and all that kind of stuff. This is power that somebody is paying for, clearly. But I want to go back to you being there and then pulling up the cable. A lot of people might not realize when you have these types of encampments, they have their own security. They are very protective of their space. So I have to believe that they saw you there, they didn't want you there, and you couldn't go in there or you would have been at risk. And that's 2 of you. There are 2 of you there. I can't imagine what it's like for people who might be walking by.
Yeah, and because of time constraints, there's only so much you can put in this story. One of the other major concerns that people have there that we also experienced when we were out there is there's just a lot of waste, whether that's human or animal or whatever it is. It stinks around there. So there's also safety concerns regarding that. You have to really watch where you're stepping around there because
needles.
Yes, but also feces of some sort from some sort of animal or human are all around that encampment too. So there's a stench on top of all of this as well. And the reason why people get so frustrated with this, Philip, is they complain to 311, they file the complaints, but they don't see anything being done.
Now, this is a term I've heard used by multiple people. It's called the circular firing squad. And that's what this strikes me as. Because it's private property, you have all of these different entities that could do something, but they keep pointing the finger at somebody else. And we have this circular firing squad. Nobody gets anything done, but they're blaming everybody else.
And I think that's why the council member, Katie Yaroslavsky, came out and actually wanted to speak to us.
To the location,
yes,
to her
to the
credit,
location.
to the location.
Because she said the exact same thing. She goes, this isn't working, right? Like, somebody complains to LADBS, that's the Department of Building and Safety. She said her office complained, but it took weeks for them to send an inspector out there. She says that is not acceptable. And the reason that's important is that city entity can start to file an order of comply to the property owner, whether they are local or in this case, a Delaware LLC, to have to make some sort of movement. You know, you got to get this property up to code. One of the things she talked about, and what we'll go in tonight at 5, is she goes, in order for a property to be labeled nuisance in the city of LA, it can potentially take years. And you may remember 7 on Your Side a few months ago did a story about people reached out to us in Hollywood. There was a building that became vacant. People started moving into it. They started setting fires in there just to keep warm. But then, you know, there's PTSD after what happened in January here. People were seeing fires started very close to their apartments. Well, a week after our story, it burned down. They were also pointing the finger at LADBS for not moving fast enough and getting these properties, pushing them into compliance.
It is very frustrating. I think we're probably out of time. But I worry and I challenge these people who are in charge. Do we have to wait for somebody to be hurt? We have watched people hiding in hallways, staying on roofs, doing all of the people experiencing homelessness who are also mentally ill, cause harm to people who are residents. Is that what's going to happen here before something is urgently done?
Hopefully not in this case, because the councilwoman says, given all the steps that are happening now, this should be cleaned up in a few weeks. And of course, we will keep on top of it and see if, in fact, that actually happens.
Yeah, and Kevin, thank you. But this is a big problem all across the city. They may fix this one, but if they don't come up with a plan to fix all of them, this is just going to keep happening.
Yeah, one last thing. Singman Lee is the one who actually reached out to us, the resident who heard from. He goes, I should not have to be reaching out to Channel 7 in order to get answers and movement here.
I 100% agree. Kevin, thank you. Sadly, we'll do many more stories like this.